Thanks to Keeps for sponsoring this video and the free product. That is a car worthy of going on Pikes Peak.
That's a sick ass helicopter.
Yeah, Joel's got the shot too. They're picking up water out of a river because there's a fire right here. We're south of Colorado Springs over at my buddy Trevor's from Motion Auto. Out in the middle of nowhere, then you got a Cybertruck sitting. And then on top of that, look, there's an RX-7 inside, so we'll see what's going on. We have a massive list of things to work on, and I can't be more thankful for what Trevor's offered for us because we're without a home. Laptop's almost dead, so I'm gonna charge that up, and then we will hit the sticks. Dyno.
Wow, that's really loose.
Really?
It's like hand tight.
This car is too much work. 3 people to do in this amount of time. You have to trust in other people. And so just now the guys found that the rear axles that I was told everything is dotted with that paint, both of them are loose. I've driven the car in a circle. It's not even possible to really loosen an axle nut unless you were drag racing maybe. It's a little frustrating to say the least because my life's on the line. And you guys know this, that the stakes are way higher than they've ever been. Paying other people a lot of money and then also still having this is honestly been a very frustrating experience to say the least. We're about 4,000 or 5,000 feet up in the air. And sure enough, right off the bat, we're at negative 2.5 psi, roughly. And here's my next question: is does that affect the map sensor? I thought that it would calibrate the map sensor to 0. I think we gotta dig into that a little bit. It is really windy out here. Hopefully that helps add some boost or something. But I'm gonna go ahead and fire it up for the first time with all these little small changes we made, and then get it ready to go backwards onto the dyno. It is raining really heavily, and that's getting us ready mentally for the change that could occur at Pikes Peak at any moment. I think except there would be snow. The dyno doesn't have a brake, so I have to be careful about how I'm going to do that. On a rotary, particularly, you don't want to use the engine to slow the dyno down. We're just going to do just ramp runs, see what the car does initially, like half throttle going up. There's so many new things that we're just going to try to appreciate all of them working together and see what happens. Out of time. It's 10 p.m. and so I'm just gonna do a Hail Mary and just send it 1st through 4th or so. It's for both of us, and then I can think about the logs overnight for the 2 hours I get to sleep. No matter where I am or what I'm doing, male pattern hair loss doesn't care. Neither does my cat. Well, cats don't suffer from male pattern related hair loss. Men do. 2 out of every 3 men will experience some form of hair loss by the age of 35, and I have long hit my 40th birthday, and sure enough, I was in the majority. While the cat's a little jealous, we humans have Keeps to prevent that form of hair loss. And in fact, in my case, in many people's cases, can regrow hair. Keeps has so many different solutions, and their website cuts right through and look at the facts, look at all of the information on there, and make intelligent, awesome decisions related to preventing and restoring male pattern related hair loss. I've been a huge fan of Keeps for many years, and of course a customer long before that, and I mean, I still have hair to pull out when things aren't going my way. It is incredible, and even more so while I'm traveling, Keeps has solutions tailored for you. You have a variety of options. They've got shampoos, they've got many different things that help you on your hair loss related journey. And just like me, the focus is on prevention. That I can tell you right now from some of my friends, the sooner you get to it, the more hair you have to save. Thanks to Keeps for sponsoring this video and for the free product. Go to keeps.com/RobDahm for a special offer. That's KEEPS.com/RobDahm. I hope that didn't just blow my motor. Thankfully, the computer saw it and shut things down as well.
Better here than on the mountain, right?
Yeah, but let's hope.
What, did it lose oil pressure? So you can see right here, one side is down and one side's up. So either one side expanded or one side caved in, but that allowed the O-ring to come out pretty much.
Don't piss rev on cold oil, especially cold thick oil. Look at it, it buckled this oil cooler, the top rows, which I think will be okay. That was 125 degrees of oil temperature, Fahrenheit. I think we're gonna have to take my heat gun tomorrow morning and just heat the shit out of the oil, prevent this from happening. These are running in parallel too, so it's not even like this cooler was holding back this cooler, which would have absolutely blown one of these up. That front cover clearly works, and our regulator is doing its best, but for the sake of time, I was trying to get on it and found a problem. This would have happened on the mountain if I didn't do it now, because it would be even colder and we'd be rushed. And so now we know, okay, there's some minimums. So this is actually probably the best case scenario right now. For the record, the oil pressure went down to 5 PSI. I set it to 15 minimum. Before we had really low oil pressure. When it would turn, it would trigger that and it would kill the car halfway through a turn. So I'm gonna turn that up now that we have a dry sump. This is the last pull for the night. Same thing, but full throttle, so that way we know the limits before we go out there. This car is absolutely insane. Wish we had more time to test. So thankful to the guys at Motion Auto for making this possible right now, because this is so much less stress that would have happened in the middle of Top Gear filming and trying to show Pikes Peak that we're not complete morons. It is 11:30. We have to be on the mountain in 4 hours, but driving off of a dyno successfully. And so we're gonna load up, drive an hour north, go sleep, at the very least get a shower, and then the insanity continues. I know what I'm doing right now. This left, go for a little straight, and then you'll turn right, and there'll be a guardrail on the left side. So we'll see if that's really...
Okay.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, we're in the game. We're in the real world right now. Yeah, so then this will go right, then turn a little straight, another right.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
Rob
And then it'll
knows.
go right, and then it'll turn left. And there'll be this part called the S's right here, or kind of
The high speed.
there's a high-speed little zigzaggy looking thing.
Come here. Come here.
Do something.
Yeah. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. This is Rob.
Hey Rob, I'm Dave.
Yeah.
I'm the official up here today. Glad you're here. Hope you have a successful day.
We are here near other very fast cars, probably faster than mine, given that they've all had practice and have a sorted out car, but we're doing it. We are in the Pikes Peak fold. The officials already made me feel like, okay, it's a rite of passage. We made it here. And so now we're gonna unload the car. We got Top Gear here filming too. So it's gonna be a little chaotic. The guys have a little bit of work to do to get it ready for me to take a pass, but we're here.
Just get up there without incident. and you've won. A lot of really good drivers don't make it to the top on race day.
This is terrifying. They're pressuring me to do my best. Today's goal is to be invisible. They don't want anybody messing up.
As ready as we fucking can be. Go. Making the top.
I did it. That was real. Oh. Not gonna lie, I'm tearing up a little bit. That was it. So we could just get faster. That felt absolutely incredible. Oil pressure. I just need 2 more quarts.
Okay, oil pressure. We're gonna fill you up with fuel. Anything else? Anything feel weird? Anything feel off?
No. She and I are getting to know each other. My windshield was never cleaned from the dyno session, so I've been going up and can't see shit.
Okay.
But,
We'll
this
address
is-
that.
The car's already overheating on this one section already. We don't have the second radiator, so hopefully it's a saving grace. And obviously I'm getting faster, but the faster I go, the more it overheats.
The whole back of the car was engulfed.
Yeah, both sides we saw
Okay.
it. Last thing that we're going to do is we're going to start a fire on Pikes Peak.
Okay, that sounds good to
You
me.
don't want to be the guys that end a 102-year-old race.
Flame tune is not it.
Yeah, so no flame tune. It's either RX-7s or gender reveal parties for the down.
You think you still have another run, or
I can do another run.
okay? Because you're honestly you're ready to go back out, unless you want to look at a log or anything like that.
Time to make the lines for the E-gate, and as a result, E-gate seized and is stuck in completely open mode. I want to point out that E-gate is like way beyond the operating temperature. It has to be water cooled, and here I am in an endurance hill climb, and it lasted all those runs, but it's stuck open now. My last run was just all naturally aspirated, which is absolute nothing. I'm almost delirious. That oxygen is a lifesaver. The car is fast. I'm really bummed out that all of our building has prevented me from doing enough driving to be the driver that this car needs. That said, I'm driving this car right now and it is performing. So we have a massive laundry list of safety things, heating things, cooling things. The guys are doing everything they can to let me drive. And I can guarantee in 2 weeks this thing's gonna be everything I dreamed it to be.
We didn't get disqualified?
We didn't get disqualified. We got so close. We got so close. They stopped us. I thought it was because Isaiah was, bulling through the canyons too hard. But our brakes are on fire.
I don't know, do I get out and I help? Do I just sit here?
Well, you definitely have to get out and look at it. It doesn't change anything, but that's like human
Yeah,
law.
okay,
You have to,
yeah, as a
driver,
yeah,
you have to
okay,
go,
okay,
huh?
Yeah.
Major no-no is do not use your brakes to go downhill. Use the engine, even though that hurts. It sounds more painful. Yep. Kev, my brother, if you're watching this, they just gave us a whole lesson on all the things that you and Seth installed. Thankfully, you did.
having a little of that cold
So the trailer needed way more braking, and we'll
Yeah,
keep
we're on
it.
8%.
Yeah, we were on 8%, not 30% or whatever they're asking for. So we'll just ride it in first down. I am so thankful that we are about to get our asses chewed out. The team from Pikes Peak, including the director of the event, is coming here to overlook the car. We're the kid in class that got in trouble. And I hate being that guy, but I'm still in the class, and they know that we care so much that my heart is in it. They see the authenticity. They see that I'm not just being a YouTuber. They see I want to be part of the team, and so they're gonna come here and criticize, tear this car apart because we're not going to pass tech. What you see here will not pass tech. We made it up the mountain. There were so many caveats. I was a liability to them, so I'm really curious what they have to say and what we have to do within the next 6 days before passing tech.
That is a big turbo.
Yeah, G42.
Fucker's as big as the motor. That's my concern with this car, Isaiah, is that this car hasn't been run and tested. All these guys that come and compete, probably the first time they've been run is in March before the event, so they can deal with all this kind of stuff. This exhaust is my biggest concern because you guys are going to roast Rob's ass.
So where's the floor? You guys had a floor on this completely?
Goes from here to here.
How far back?
It goes all the way up to right here. So this whole piece.
Yeah, that's gonna hold some heat.
It was boiling the undercoating on the
Which is
inside
right
of the car.
here.
Yeah.
With all the issues that we're having, all the safety issues that we're concerned with, honestly, the overall idea is just get it out over here, said and done. He doesn't boil like a turkey.
That's gonna help a ton on everything. So we need some kind of,
Covers this.
just a firewall of some sort. One of these lines rupture.
Yes.
I don't want him getting hammered with either water and or hot oil.
100%.
The seat needs to move over a little bit, and
That will give you some more
Yeah.
room, because right now I can tell you, you're hitting this with your helmet.
yeah, if I want to hit it, it's very easy.
Up here, if something goes wrong, you're not going to hit something once. You're going to hit multiple things many times. But we've got a big opening, one
Yeah.
rock, one tree branch.
We actually had planned for diagonals, they just didn't ship it when they shipped the kit, so.
Have them ship it.
Do the basics and do it, and you'll have a more successful event.
Focus on reliability now, not performance.
Just make the runs, and make the runs count, and use good data. You don't want to see me. The year I go away and, oh shit, I didn't get to talk to so-and-so. Perfect. We'll see you on Monday for tech.
Okay.
But without a bunch of changes, what we've talked about, take care of that driver there.
We have our work cut out for us. It's gonna be noisy, it's gonna be crazy like it has been for the last couple weeks. The entire safety crew from Pikes Peak, including the director of competition, came here and worked over the car with us. There's a lot that needs to be changed, and this is kind of where we shine. It's not that I want to be showing off these skills right now, but it's what we have to do to stay in the race. It's unfortunate that it's not a race to the top as much for us. It's a race to be not at the very bottom. So we have a whole exhaust change going to happen. It's melting everything, and it's just posing a lot of problems. So we're going to put the exhaust away to the side, so that way I don't have oil on my windshield, which is absolutely frustrating. If you've ever had an up pipe, especially with the rotary, the two-stroke oil naturally collects, and that's bad for visibility. And on top of all of that, the cooling system was very neglected. Based on time, we have the extra radiator, The E-gate, which we need to replace because we absolutely nuked it. E-gates need their water cooling. Going up Pikes Peak, that E-gate did several runs back to back. It's almost 2,000 degree exhaust. It froze. It's just not fair to the E-gate. The turbo also didn't have any cooling. We really abused the equipment we have. We're also gonna make a snorkel from the inlet to the turbo to outside the hood, just straight up, capture the air like a rally style. It is Tuesday and I have a track day Friday. I need to know the limits of the car before I go up the mountain one more time. This is not a rating that you would wanna put on an anti-gravity battery, but my God, we had such high exhaust heat. Everything started melting. To see this battery survive that, I'm gonna put this back into service. There's nothing wrong with it. This thing's a beast. It's a plastic outer container, but it still took that sort of heat. This is the sort of stuff that if you're wondering or interested in becoming a fabricator, you have to think fully. I asked to have this differential moved up because it would get my axles in line and they wouldn't see. It has a very limited range. The person who did it didn't think about there being an axle in there at all. And so they never measured the distances or anything like that. So then when we would put the wheels on, sure enough, it would stick between these two lobes. So I asked him, hey, can you shave that down? It's up there. Clears, sticks. And so I went and looked at this and then felt right here, and that's all etched. The piece was not given any clearance, and so what's going on is every time this comes by, it catches on the diff mount that I had asked to have clearanced. It's metal on metal hitting things. There's no clearance even at 0. This is the sort of stuff that I hate to admit it, but we've been dealing with that has set us back so many times. This is really starting to put my life on the line, and I do not like it.
I was actually pretty proud, and I spent some time trying to get this heat shield in over this, and it did help out, but nothing could help this. Nothing could help how hot this was. Oh yeah.
All those connectors, as you know,
Yeah.
they melt.
I mean,
They melt when you stare at them.
They're mounted right here.
That's 3 O2
yeah.
sensors destroyed. That's not. Oh shit! It dripped.
Yeah, like literally.
This was really critical that we had to do this up pipe. There's just the good news
I'm
is
kind of upset with myself that I didn't think of this. We spent a lot of time, tunnel, exhaust. We could have had a obviously way better sort of car.
oh yeah, thank you. There we are, man. Perfect. Delta PAG is taking phenomenal care of us, and I mean that's the best part of the car right now is the oil coolers. Even with cold oil just going straight to this top row, that is the worst thing you can do to this cooler. It still didn't pop. We did 6 sessions on the mountain with it like this. Talk about reliability. It could keep going even though we've completely hurt it. We're gonna replace that one with this one, actually angle it down this way so it kind of angles towards the middle if you can, which you would. Just use what they made. We just have packaging issues. This one we know is still good to 150 PSI. We might try to clean it out and repurpose it as a third radiator. So we would have double stack on that side as well. The oil's never gonna get overheated. So one of the side benefits of this is that having the radiators in front, which never get hotter than the oil, will actually help preheat the oil up to temperature. Assuming we can clean this one out, we're gonna have 3 radiators, and I really don't think cooling is an issue ever again.
There's only one welder in the shop, and
Is this gonna help us pass tech?
somebody's sticking up for me. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
The past cool points.
God, that.
I want to apologize to John from Delta because we are mutilating all of his really good stuff just to make it work. But thank you for making this even remotely possible. That said, I'm going to cut this outer inch lip off of this, and I know what he's going to say. I could have sent you the right fans, but these were the fans that I asked for. They are pulling fans. They sit behind the radiator. In this case, we're actually making little turbo inlet jets and have them sit in front because we have no other room behind them. So it'll sit in front, and with the even thinner profile, it'll fit. There we go.
Rob decided to wear shorts today. Understandable, it's hot, but I don't ever see his legs. He's always wearing jeans. I want you to get a shot. I want you to get a shot to show them.
I just knew. He's not running his mouth. He's up to something.
But the reason why I called you over here was because I wanted to show you guys. If I don't have my whole, I take a set of perk plugs and my fancy cups and stuff like that, you have to make do with what you have. So luckily they have a double regulator, so that way you can back purge over there. If you just have this coming out of a hose, the air's just going to go that way. The purpose of all the plugs and all the screens and everything like that is to diffuse the air. So a really, really good thing that you could use is just Scotch-Brite. You just make these, you know, aluminum foil covers on each end, and then I just tape this onto here, so that way when the argon comes out, I'll have to spread out evenly and kind of like push the whole pipe. Actually worked out pretty well. So if you're ever in a bind, Scotch-Brite and aluminum foil, or sometimes I even just put a whole brand new thing of Scotch-Brite in there and just turn up the gas.
The Delta PAG fans are ridiculously awesome. Like, look at how small the motor unit here is, and the controller's outside of the airflow. So I went and did all of that work that you just saw to convert it into a pushing fan, and then I was like, let me just ask if maybe I could swap it out or whatever the case may be. And he's like, oh no, you just depin these two wires and swap them. Swapping those can turn this into a pushing fan. That little bit of effort, and it now has its existing shroud, and I can just put it on. So that's what we're gonna do to this one. We have switched to the manual shifter, which is an incredible option, but the dream and the whole effort I put into it long ago was to have the air shifter. This end melted because it was dangling inside of there.
It was actually sitting back there on your
Oh,
your
really? It melted
sound
sitting out
editing, and
there.
yeah, I pulled it from over there.
Wow. What I'm thinking is that if we have it kind of sweep around like this, I can get the air to work. I need the air shifter because I'm constantly shifting. It is an absolute chaotic mess here in the shop, and the guys at Tick Performance just pulled through the very first of its kind, and you have to stop and collaborate and listen. This is the air shifted solenoid. Really straightforward. They make it super easy. There's a ground, 2 power lines, and those 2 actuate solenoids, and you just feed it air. To get this to run requires a couple more things. First of all, a steady supply of air, not just on demand, but also saving up for multiple shifts as you go. This is a pressurized tank. Normally you can't fire up the air shifter with the car off, but I'm gonna take the Eiffel Tower out and put this little blue submarine in. We're back to this base plate. Now what's really interesting is that the oil does purposely come through up here to lubricate the back of the output shaft, basically. And that was where we were getting some leaking from because I was pulling up the plate, not having enough bolts. So we're gonna go ahead and gasket this one in. You need the steering wheel to do this next part. Oh, I was sticking around. So we'll enable transmission control, and then it gives me reverse lockout, neutral lockout. It won't let you shift down if it would over rev your engine. Tick Performance, PPG, MME, us, Haltech, make one hell of a team. Smart one.
So I did this, and I was like, okay, cool, quick, easy, said and done, and everyone was like, oh man, that looks like shit, dude. We want to go out the fender now. Mickey, I believe his name is. He has a buddy with the 4-inch U-bend, because I'm out of, this is the downpipe cut up. I have a small little bend left, and I got nothing else after that. And there's no 4-inch here, and then nobody nearby sells anything. The closest thing is like an hour away, so I'd have to spend an hour there to get there, 30 minutes dicking around, an hour to get back. I don't have that type of time. So that guy's gonna bring us a bench so that way I could come out the fender, a mini four-wheeler type vibe.
I gotta say, you're a beast for driving that car the way it was.
I'll give some credit for that. I'm happy that everything he bitched at, he wasn't about the smoke or the heat.
Yeah. It's okay. This is fine. Because everybody's like, you're smoking. I'm like, I know. Both vehicles behind me have failed Pikes Peak safety inspection. Throwing his head under the bus because the bus wouldn't stop with him driving because he was riding the brakes. With that, we were fixing the rear axle on the truck. So this has nothing to do with the RX-7 and the fact that they basically don't want us back on the mountain, even with this vehicle, until we get our stuff in order. The oil that actually goes through the solid axles has been slowly leaking on top of just maybe the bearing preload has gotten loose over time. I don't know what the case may be, but we have Ethan on it. For those of you wondering, I'm not trying to be a daredevil and put my own life on the line, but owning an RX-7, that's kind of naturally the case. We took these off because a tone ring was actually hitting part of my thing, and it wasn't clearanced enough, and so you could hear that, and it messed up the ring. On first inspection, my welding worked incredibly well, and this has been up Pikes Peak 5-6 times already. The only thing that I did, and it was out of an abundance of caution because of you guys, and so I'm not blaming anybody, I'm blaming myself, is that I heated the shit out of this thing, preheating it, and when I welded down into here, on this one and this one, it kind of ovaled out this area right here and right here. It would cause the bearing to be able to move the slightest bit. Because these are just prototype versions of this, and we're going to be doing full billet ones, perfectly fine, but you can take the wheel in a vertical motion, because these are vertical, and go clink, 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 just the slightest bit. I am so thankful we have a home base thanks to Trevor at Motion Auto, because I would not have a place to send these. It'd be like at a hotel or something like that. This would just be pure chaos. We got, not in trouble, but scolded for really not having a proper setup when we're at the track, and it makes sense. So one of the things that we got ordered in are proper fuel jugs. It definitely seems way more manageable than the way we were doing it before. The guys are doing the real work, to be honest. Right now, I get to do one of the fun things that I've been wanting to do for a while. I've had these in the shop. You might have seen them in the corner, or you might see me wearing a Diode Dynamics shirt. So my buddy Phil Son, who runs Deals Gap Rotary Rally, we've been through it together quite a bit. He actually got me in touch with Diode Dynamics for the headlights on this car. These are the main ones. So
Oh, they're so tiny.
Isn't that crazy? Phil has these on his car, and I was like, okay, they're gonna suck. Like it's just like a flax that looks cool. These are bright. Look at this. They're DT 4-pins. So they include a harness, and I'll use that to fire it up.
We're keeping that. We're not doing a mil-spec light harness.
We're not doing a mil-spec light harness. We're doing a mil-spec heavy harness. Joel, you ready for this?
I am.
Oh my god, it reflected off the camera into my eyes.
You can't see shit in the... It just turns... Jesus is here.
Wow. Look at that. That's your ad for Diode Dynamics right there. You don't have to say anything else. So pop that off.
Oh, that's cool.
Worked it over, found the right place that I want the hole. Their mounting system is so insanely convenient. Okay. Look at that. That looks good because that's high for a normal car, but remember this car's up in the air. I'm Rattlesnake Bert, and I like roping doggies. You just go out back with all the remains of a junkyard and just Colorado in general, and it feels like I am home on the range. I did something that is very critical for this car. The signal to the ABS system, it freaks out and then it finally just errors out. So I cleaned up the wheel. I found a lot of dents and dings, probably from people taking this and dropping it, but I left a nice consistent distance here underneath it. Why? Well, when you put this in like so, you can see that the closer this ring is to the hub, the more centered it is on the sensor. I even actually trimmed the sensor, best signal possible, hopefully never have to think about this again, and I can trust it. It is 10 o'clock before we go testing at Pueblo, and honestly, the stakes are actually pretty low. And I mean that in a good way, that we're all exhausted, we're all giving it our all, but we're testing to test for a test. And that's the best thing we could ask for right now. We do need the car up and operational with as much as possible, not just to pass tech, but also let's see if the car can dissipate the heat. Let's see if the car can, the oil to water temperatures are correct. We're currently putting the majority of the car back together. I'm gonna try and do a quick corner balance. I added some shims to this wheel that should drop the suspension lower, meaning that it'll get more weight on it. If you feel this wheel out, it's solid until you do it from this way. It's got the slightest bit. That actually is interesting. We just took it all apart, got a new bearing, knowing that all the stuff that I welded to those was actually what warped it. Right now, I have to deal with the consequences of my actions, and it unfortunately, it's like it feels like it's actually a loose wheel bearing when it's actually slightly outside of it. Bummed out that everything I did didn't help that, but we're still safe. It's just this little. I was looking for something special, and I didn't realize that this container was actually what it was. Scott Birdsall, Chuckle's Garage, sent me this, and is one of the many people that are helping me to actually doing well at Pikes Peak. Demon Speed. It's a special type of meth. These are tire warmers. These aren't.
Those are faces, right?
That's a face. The face of it. I don't know shit about tire warmers.
We're about to learn real quick.
Yeah, we are.
Wow. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I see how it does it.
See, that's the circumference of a tire. If we pull these, let's plug it in. Set to 150. In 5 minutes, we'll probably have a toasty hot tire. It's basically been 5 minutes. But the point is, actually, good or bad, it doesn't matter how long it's been, because it's working as intended, and it does feel warm. It actually feels like nice. Now, it's already 80 degrees in here, and so getting up to 108 wasn't that hard. The one and only test session we did, my tires were like 58 degrees. 110 is a lot better than 58. It was a little morning update of Friday the 14th. This is the beginning of our trials, shaking the car down at Pueblo. We've got a lot of the things that we were hoping to have working for the actual race working today. Not everything, but quite a bit. And so this is our first time of really getting to shake the car down and feel what it feels like to drive it at speed. The air shifter's new, so that's something that I've done to myself that I know I'm going to be sitting there going, okay, how much time should it be shifting? The logistics of all that, but the payoff is so worth it. Today is just for Pikes Peak drivers, and it's open lapping, meaning that there's no session. So you go out, fix something, break something, come back in, and so on. And so we want to get the whole system up to temperature. We have the second radiator, we're on the third radiator in, which is fine. We're at only a mile up. We won't overheat because we got more air, and we also aren't under load going up the mountain. E-gate and turbo coolant. Finally, I'm pretty excited to see how this car goes and then see what I can do at its limit. We have made it to Pueblo Motorsports Park, and this is actually a really wild little place, and it's that perfect type of small where you can get a lot done, and if you know the people type of thing, like you can have a lot of fun. We did not, in the rush of this, get to film the first time firing it up with that exhaust, and we don't even really know what it sounds like because we're just like, unload, get it into the trailer. So this is our very first time of appreciating the exhaust and playing with the paddles.
I didn't even do anything, and that was amazing.
I got some tuning to do.
I didn't have time to run the coolant for the turbo and the wastegate properly, so I kind of just open looped them back to each other. Now, the turbo and the wastegate have coolant ran to it, and hopefully they don't burn up.
This is really the first time we're having the whole car as an ensemble put together, so I'm going to be wearing my entire outfit. This is a variety of emotions for me, because with the car behind me doing its final stage of building, and just the whole concept of going to Pikes Peak, this is the icing on the cake. It's actually coincidental I'm wearing this shirt today, but O&P just sent me, after months of planning and indecisiveness on my part,
They gave you a bag.
they gave me a man purse. Well, that is so small. Because it's not the purse, it's how you wear it. Hell yes. This is like a lifelong dream.
Oh, snap.
Oh,
That's
hell
cool.
Yeah. Man,
That's
Oh,
like
look at that.
stitched too,
Yeah,
right? All of
yeah.
it?
So it's all fire retardant like film, and look at this, representing the United States. That's just a thing of beauty.
That's badass.
Isn't this fucking
looks
sick?
sick.
It's completely custom for my measurements. They measured like everything.
Damn,
Might as
that
well-
looks-
Last time that's gonna smell that good. It takes the Dahm shirt and like just takes it to the next level. Thankfully now that it's our next door neighbors who do all of our merch, I think that we need to do like team like uniforms or whatever. Just
Onesies?
like yeah. This is how easy Haltech makes fixing things that you break, is that I'm in my race suit working on this thing, and the colors and the wiring, it's all so consistent that I'm able to make a hot swap. The R5 particularly has a shit ton of internal O2 sensor connectors, and I happen to have one of the cables for that. Since we fried all of our other O2 sensors, I can run a different style of O2 sensor right now and undo our bad luck.
Be mindful of that rubber on the drag strip. When it gets wet, it gets slick as fuck.
Copy that.
So,
Okay,
we're good.
thank you. Transmission can shift so much faster. I couldn't see half the time because of the rain, but we still shook it down. Of course, our luck, it starts raining and pouring. This is an absolute joke for me for getting any seat time in my own car, but everybody's got their challenges. So I'm gonna download what we just did. We forgot to calibrate the wastegate, so I was naturally aspirated. Regardless, got tons of data. Being on a wet track that's also a drag strip is a kind of a terrifying experience. a car worthy of going on Pikes Peak. My downshifts were so fucking on point, I didn't even know they were occurring. Turbo inlet temps went through the roof. That's 207 degrees Celsius coming out of the turbo. Today we'll get the snorkel in, and that's, you know, so colder air, all that. That was the first time I felt safe in the car.
It didn't get hot in there, right?
It got hot, but not that hot.
Not really in the
Yeah. Today and the last couple weeks have been just shit eating after shit eating, and I finally had a moment where me and the car connected, and I still haven't found its limits. It's an aero car, meaning that down that front straight, when I slam on the brakes at high speeds, brakes can't lock up. And then at lower speeds, with less pressure, I can lock the rear. So I know that it is a little rear bias still, so I got a couple more clicks to do that. But I got so much data. That was the #1 goal, is get data about this car. And we got that. We pressure tested it. It'll survive the whole run at the mountain. I don't know if it'll run after that, but it'll make it to the top. I know that. I'm gonna go through the logs. We got some things to work on, but we finally hit a good milestone with this build. So when we were at Pueblo, I felt something that made me shut down the run. And thankfully, I also saw smoke coming out of the hood, so I knew just be real. And to be honest, had I not, I would have burned the car down for sure. But more importantly, I felt the drive shaft move. You might say, well, Rob, that's a weird quality to know. Well, when you've blown 2 drive shafts at once in a 4-rotor, you get a feel for these type of things. And so I felt a shimmy of sorts, like a clinking shimmy. And I was like, I remember that when this was loose. That was enough for me to shut down the run. And sure enough,
Whoa, the bolts backed out?
bolts backed out. It's trying to fight the transmission to put power down. And so that was at like 26 PSI, so full torque. It bent everything, and it was relying on the engine mounts, which are already purposely lighter and weaker, to try and keep everything in place. So I felt the drive shaft do weird shit, shut it down, and sure enough, we lived to die another day. So this kind of reminds me of those old heating pads that like you'd see like whoopee cushion style. This is a heater, so surface heats rapidly, and that's our goal. We have to read instructions fully before we put this on, but it's got adhesive on the backside, and I mean, this is about as simple as of electronics as you can get. It's basically shorting itself out so that heats up. This will go on the outside of the tank, and then this plug will sit somewhere close to the door, so that way when we unload the car, this gets plugged in, the tire warmers get plugged in, and the oil's preheated, because go time's go time. I don't have time to idle and warm the car out. Slap it onto the side of the dry sump tank, and then now we have a way of heating up the oil without messing with the car. Joel's gonna hold this with one hand. Yeah. You're the audience. You need them to see. Okay.
How fast I drop
Electrocute
it.
his ass.
Ah!
Oh, that's already warm.
Oh, it is. Whoa. says don't touch. Oh, that's actually really hot.
Oh, yeah, yep. They're little bitches.
No, hold
They're
it,
little
Joel,
bitches.
hold it, Joel.
Ah, that's actually really hot. Okay, let go. Yep. Yeah.
That does a job.
Vibrant's definitely come in clutch for us with even having this little baby option for a air filter on this car. Down here, this is currently reading almost 450 degrees to 500 degrees at the peak of boost, meaning hot. And so that 500 degree temperature is going into the intercooler and then being cooled so much that by the end of the intercooler, it only reaches 110 to 120 degrees.
That's really good.
Very efficient. The problem though, 400 degrees is coming out, goes into the radiator, so that heats the radiator up a little bit. But then more importantly, it comes out, it goes back into the turbo. So the heat, the energy is going in a circle and just amplifying everything. Getting cold air into the turbo considerably drops the outlet temperature as well. It's, you know, energy in, energy out. And so these super tight 4-inch bends, we've got enough room for the recirc inside of there. It doesn't block the radiator fan really at all. Now they're real nice and tight radius here, and so we'll cut this one back to some extent and then have a snorkel on top. Now it won't be like this, and it definitely won't be like a periscope like that.
I really like that.
You like that? Okay, then it's gonna be like this. Oh my god. It's just simply up there to grab air.
What better hole to put it in than in the rear hole? And so this is the little hole that's on the bumper, so we'll be able to just put this in there and do the thicker plate with more surface area, so that way if the car needs to be pulled out of a ravine or something like that, it
Hopefully not.
Why would you need that? Yeah.
Matt came down from Loveland. I said, hey dude, I need help. Didn't give him anything specific, I just needed help. And luckily he showed up because he could now put a tow hitch on.
Basically, I just need to take a little bit more notch off of there, and then we're going to weld this straight to the trans tunnel.
We've got a lot of things to accomplish, and I don't think people understand how little time we really have. But thanks to these two guys.
Oh, that's what you're supposed to do.
Can you move that like a half inch to the left? No. Pretty good. Woo.
Tight.
We are excited to show you that Valvoline is being a major part of all the things we do right here. It's always been on the side of the car with the baby V up at the front, but Joel and I went all the way to get vinyl. The even bigger one, thick performance, the PPG gearbox, the flat shifting. That was the whole point of me even being competitive. So if I'm competitive, it's because of this company. I feel like I'm like at the Oscars or something. I understand why everybody thanks so many people, because they really can't do it alone. So even everybody here in Colorado has just been helping out. Trevor from Motion Auto, Matt Sixberry, even Grant, have all just been helping bring this car together. So we got a lot of last minute things that really hopefully make this race week possible. Finally having logos on the car brings us back to a moment of the history of this vehicle. Putting Dahm back on the rear quarter panels now.
Oh.
I think the original one had that too.
You got too ballsy.
I got
there.
ballsy. I was feeling myself.
Still turned out pretty good.
Last night, Matt made quick work of this at about 1 in the morning and got both of the fender vents installed. The air coming in not from the front of the car, but under the car where the diffusers are, is going to put air into this wheel well. These fender vents I think will be very functional for us. And Matt also added this piece onto the fenders. We have now moved the seat over as far as it physically can go inside of an RX-7. I already love it.
Yeah?
I already fucking love it. So now my brake pedal is no longer past center. So I can left and right. I can right with my left and left with my right. It's much more comfortable. There's no... The pool noodle can be on there. Maybe if I try, I can get the helmet to hit the pool noodle, but look at that.
Oh, I like what's going on here.
So I've got a backseat passenger that's bitching up a storm. Like, dude, you knew what you signed up for when you signed up for Uber, okay? And so it's a two-seater. What do you expect? But that said, the guys added one more bar into this. Now, I don't ever plan to test this, but nonetheless, there's no question that that's keeping me extra safe. Now, I actually really like this just for, like, the way these bars are organized. It's very easy to kind of maneuver yourself in and out of the car. The only thing I'm missing right now, I would love to have, is like a hanger for this. But Ethan made this center console. I don't think we even showed you guys this. He got it square when it was all weird and angled, and so at the very least, I've got a table to work with. She is radically transforming right at the very last second. Watch this snorkel. It's hilarious.
Wow.
That's so sick, because that is 100% effective. Air coming in, goes right to the turbo, and that's ice cold air, and at high speeds, that's a lot of air. Almost a lot more than even the turbo can take. So this is super epic. And then this as well, all we're doing right now is manipulating air. We're gonna go kind of aggressive on the angle of these front wings, mostly because they're actually wings instead of just solid pieces of aluminum. And we need as much downforce in the front as possible because we have that monstrous wing and the diffuser in the back. So this is the very first version of that. We're just gonna set them static at 30 degrees, which is where the wings kind of really start to add too much drag, but maximize downforce. In the future, we would drop it back down to 10 degrees or so, depending on what the data tells us. So we have to make sure we have enough room for this to pivot down and not be touching the tire. So trying to future-proof this, even though so much of this is very last second. They added so much weight that it weighs 100 pounds more than it used to. Really, the weight balance side to side, which isn't the same type of metric, is very close. It's a very centered car. Same thing front to rear. 25.4 plus 24.8. This is a 50-50, 50-50 type of car right now. Our goal here is to get all of our registration done. The most important part about all this is, can we pass TAC? This is your very first step for starting race week. So that is what it's like to be prepared. All of my paperwork was all done ahead of time. I did everything right, and so that was thorough, but done. So now it's on to the pinnacle of this, which is tech inspection. Here's the moment of truth. This isn't tech, this is literally scrutineering. They're measuring everything. It's actually a really big effort, and I'm excited to be here because we have nothing to hide. Does it shine for you?
Yes, well, we should keep it this way.
Ideally, yeah, that's the perfect world, right?
Yeah. You know, the cosmetic stuff, we'll take care of that later.
Yeah.
Get the mechanicals. You know, you always build a car mechanically right, and then you take it all back apart, and then you make it pretty.
Yeah,
right?
so well, I sprayed the oil on purpose so it didn't rust up here, you know?
All right. You're that guy.
duet welds.
DOM, do you know the diameter?
1.5 and 0.95 thickness. They're able to tell the thickness of the metal.
Yeah, it's like an ultrasound.
Really?
Awesome, you guys are good.
That was exactly as stressful as I thought it was going to be, and to be honest, that makes me feel so less stressed. That all these people are looking for problems. They found some, exactly how I called it. Stuff you're like, oh shit. They did not give us any leniency. In fact, right now, an air shifter doesn't want to go into reverse, and so like they need to see that work. So it's you know, like there's no shortcuts here, and that is just holding us to such a high standard that I'm very, very proud to be part of.